You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Happy Friday, everybody. I am Daniel.
Happy Friday indeed. I am Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. There is no offseason for us in the SEC when it comes to football. So we're here with you guys carrying through March, little foyer into the future. We will be doing a brackets episode when those brackets are announced, of course. Maybe it's gonna bleed over. Also, this is hey, I think we need to do an offseason. We need to do three things this offseason. One, we need a cathartic dumping post-national championship for the loss to Alabama before, Daniel, not the SEC, the previous national championship game we lost. We need now that we can process that well, okay?
Yeah,
and
we'll do that in the dog days of summer. We'll do
dog
that
days of summer.
In the dead of summer, yeah.
Two, we need a retelling of stories from Clemson and from the national championship when the Smith brothers and us were all traveling together. We need to do those two things.
I'm gonna have to get into some of this.
Yeah.
If that's gonna be
number three
the episode.
Number three, we need to do a video episode, you and I cooking our favorite stews together in summer. We need to do a how to get Saturday right with our stews, cooking it together.
Yes,
on the YouTube channel.
We're going to do a whole series of episodes on how to be a fan.
Yeah,
and here's what I'm thinking. This is actually an idea from my wife for the podcast. So credit where credit's due.
Please.
What if we get listeners to send in their go-to game day recipes, and then you and I make those recipes, and then we rank them them based on which ones are the best, and then we provide you, the people, the service of knowing what the best thing to eat on game day is.
Y'all, just so you guys know, Daniel and I are foodies through and through, and we love cooking. So this is going to happen.
Listen, send it to @Dawgs Podcast, LockedOnBulldogs at gmail.com. You can send it there as well. Start sending us your game day recipes. We'll start putting some things out. We won't do this for a while, but we're gonna start collecting. We'll start collecting the recipes. So Weldon Brothers, I know you got to go to. I don't know what it is. I'm scared to know what it is, but I know you got to go to. Whatever your go-to game day meal is, send it to us. Clint and I will make it, and then we will provide the feedback. Okay.
I love it. If you haven't figured it out by now,
that was a weird tangent. Yeah. I think they figured it out by now.
We're fans. We're not gurus or insiders. There is no such thing as guru insider. Don't pay for news that tomorrow you will find out. Don't do it, y'all.
Wow. What a just a positive message. Just the more you know right here at the beginning of the
That's awesome.
All right, let's jump into today's topic, which is biggest threats to Georgia. Georgia, obviously, the favorite to win the national championship again, Clint.
Yep,
and
we're national champions.
Listen, ESPN, which grain of salt. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
ESPN puts out a way too early top 25, and then in order to produce content, which we get it, tough deal trying to make content, but in order to produce content, what they do is then they go through their panel of experts, through each of these teams in the top 25, and they go biggest strength, biggest weakness for each of these teams in the way too early top 25. As you probably know, some combination of Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State are 1, 2, and 3 in sort of everyone's preseason rankings, as you would expect.
Yep.
Every team on the biggest weakness category, right? Like every team that you go through is, is listing out the passing game or the pass rush or lack of experience in the backfield or lack of depth on the defensive front. You just read through weakness on all these teams. You get to Georgia. Do you know what the biggest weakness listed for the University of Georgia is?
Let me take a guess. Expectations. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Letdown.
Okay.
Championship letdown. Like, I'm sorry. Your job is to come up with a weakness for our football team.
Yep.
And the only one you could think of was maybe we won't try very hard. Like, okay. So
Cool, bro.
listen, I'm not just being a Georgia fan. When I say Georgia's the favorite to win the national championship, just read the tea leaves. Okay. Like, there's a whole panel of ESPN writers who think that this Georgia team's biggest weakness is that they might just suddenly stop trying hard. Okay. Who then are the teams that are the biggest threat to Georgia? We're not going to go inside the conference here, so we're going to avoid all the SEC.
Listen,
we did that yesterday.
We said Alabama is going to be undefeated with us in the SEC championship. Clearly, they're a threat. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Okay, everybody?
But the Alabama fans want us to talk about it.
I know. I know, Daniel. That was a disclaimer.
Okay, let's start with what I think is the most obvious threat to everyone that everyone's sort of saying for Georgia, and that is Ohio State. Clint, what are your thoughts about Ohio State? Ryan Day, really, this is his team now. He's settled in.
Yes.
He missed the playoff last year after that kind of epic game against Michigan, and Michigan beats him, and we know how that went for Michigan to the playoff. He missed the playoff last year, but he's made the playoff every other year. Seems like he's got the team to get back and do it. Smith and Jigba's back, and so the wide receiver core is going to be fine. And you just feel like Ryan Day, is he the best offensive mind in college football? Let's just start there. Is he the best offensive coach in college football?
No, because Todd Monken's still here. So there's
my man. Almost fell for the bait.
No, sir. Look, I actually think that this might upset some of the listeners. I actually think Day's a pretty dang good coach. I think this guy is one of the top 4 coaches in college football.
Yes.
Like, this guy has come in, and he's honestly, he's not Lane Kiffin. You don't hear about him that much. He's not Jim Harbaugh. He's not taking his shirt off for recruits and wearing cleats.
I'm sorry.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Did Jim Harbaugh buy a yacht as well?
I'm just saying, look at the photos of Jim Harbaugh with that farmer's tan out. I'm just saying, that's not Ryan Day. He is a sound coach. His teams are always competitive. They're always ready. It's Ohio State because it starts with him, and it starts with CJ coming back. It starts with the wide receivers coming back. Their offense is going to be explosive. They play in a weak conference that wants to tout defense but doesn't actually have any good defense whatsoever. Like, please stop. Big
Ten basketball teams play better defense than Big Ten football teams. They are tougher and more physical than Big Ten football teams.
100%. So, yeah, it's Ohio State. And they're always going to have 1 or 2 linebackers that are streaky. They're going to have edge guys. It seems that Ohio State has a system in place now under Day. And I think it's rinse, repeat all the way throughout. So they have all those returning statistics. They have continuity. They have recruiting classes. I anticipate them to win their conference. I don't anticipate Michigan to repeat. I expect them to win, get in the college football playoff. And if I'm taking bets right now, I think I would take them to be in the college football championship next year. If you were to give me odds on that, pretty good, I would take them with us is who I would predict.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like Ryan Day as a coach, I mean, Ryan Day is not Lincoln Riley. If you want to make fun of somebody for being overrated as a coach, may I direct your attention to Lincoln Riley?
It's embarrassing.
Well, Ryan Day ain't that. I seriously do think. I mean, I'll concede the Todd Monken point, but I seriously do think he's the best offensive mind in college football. He's certainly the best offensive head coach in college football.
That is true.
You can keep your, like you said, Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly. You can keep all these guys. Give me Ryan Day anytime. So they're probably the biggest threat. Let's talk about some teams that might be flying a little bit more under the radar, though, Clint, in the next 2 segments. But first, want to tell you about Run Your Pool again.
Run Your Pool is serious about March Madness, and you should be too. Why? Because it's the best sporting event weeks at a time. It's just an onslaught of fandom 24/7. And if you are listening to this pod, you know we like fandom a great deal, and that's exactly what March Madness has. Right now, Run Your Pool is serious. It's not the usual, it's the best. We've done our homework, and we're going to run our brackets over at runyourpool.com, and we think you should too. Along with standard brackets, Run Your Pool offers game types like Survivor or Pick X. They have options to edit scoring, and they offer more intel to make your picks. All the stuff you won't find over at ESPN and CBS. Clearly, we believe Run Your Pool is the best because, like we said, we're running our brackets over there ourselves. There's no truer test than that. If you want to play against us for a shot at cash prizes, join us at runyourpool.com/lockedon. And while you're there, create your own account and pool for your friends, family, coworkers. Enter Pure Madness at checkout for $10 off your custom pool. That's Pure Madness at checkout for $10 off your custom pool. Runyourpool.com/lockedon for your chance to win cash prizes. We look forward to seeing you and beating you over there.
Also want to tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. They are Clint and I's favorite, the go-to on-the-go pre-workout, post-workout meal replacement protein bar because it's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. It's high in protein, high in fiber, low in sugar. It is keto approved, and it's great for whatever meal plan or eating formula you and your local health consultant have concocted. Built Bar is great for it. Not only is it high in protein and a great healthy choice, but as I said, it tastes like a candy bar. Chocolate flavors, fruit flavors, they are all delicious. There are some that are crunchy, some that are chewy. Whatever you want, Built Bar has it right now. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON15 and you'll get 15% off your first order. LOCKEDON15 is the promo code, 15% off your first order at BuiltBar.com, the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. All right, Clint,
so Ohio State is there. They're clearly a top.
We got Ohio State. Yep. Who you got as the second biggest threat to Georgia outside the SEC?
Look, I don't know who needs to hear this.
Okay.
But I'm going to start with somebody that's not, because I'm sick and tired of hearing them over and over and over again.
Okay.
Clemson broke, y'all. Like, Clemson is broke.
Brandon, you listening?
I don't know
Brandon,
if it was us.
You out there?
I don't know who exactly did it.
It was Nakobe Dean.
There you go. Okay.
It was Nakobe Dean broke Clemson. Period. Okay.
Look,
so
you're
saying
no
not
belief.
Clemson.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not Clemson. Okay.
Thank you.
So get off that immediately. It is not Michigan, because I think that Ohio State's going to run that conference. So that's not it.
Yeah. I mean, the quarterback for Michigan, they're excited about him. Sure. That kid. But you lose those two pass rushers. And I just don't know. I just don't know if Michigan has the caliber of talent to just reload like Alabama, like Georgia, like Ohio State do year after year. So get them out.
Get them out. I think possibly, and a lot has to do here. There's coaching change and there's new kids coming. Oklahoma, I think, has a chance to make some noise. Daniel, I think they could do some stuff.
I mean, that is tripling down on your Lincoln Riley disdain to say that Oklahoma might make some noise.
I'm just saying, but if I was to look at making the college football playoff, getting in and having a shot, I'm going to actually look at the Pac-12. I'm going to look at two schools out there.
Here we go.
And one of them is my disdain for Lincoln Riley. USC, I think new environment. I think a couple of skill players. I think a lot of transfers. I think revitalization over there. You want to talk about culture and a lot of money. But y'all, if you don't know what's happening up in the desert in Utah,
thank you.
If y'all don't know what's happening over there, take a quick look, because just like Kentucky, there is a monster being birthed up there. Old ball coach is salty, rides a Harley around, The team is
Okay.
unified around him. They play
Mhm.
tough, no nonsense.
Mhm.
They just do fundamental things all the way through. They don't beat themselves. They don't make mistakes. They get kids coming from Florida. Daniel, they're getting kids coming out of the sunshine of Florida out to the desert of Utah. If you've never driven through Utah, y'all, I can't describe to you a more desolate place. I really can't.
I mean, Utah is
Okay.
one of the most beautiful states in the country, Clint.
It's gorgeous. It's
Sure.
gorgeous. But that's not Salt Lake City up there though, Daniel. Like you have to go down, you have to go south a little bit. You have to, and I know the Utes are close to BYU over there, but Utah has a chance to dominate the Pac-12. Depending on what Dan Lanning and Oregon does in the coming years, Utah has a chance to absolutely get a linchpin hold on Pac-12 and then make the college football playoff with some skill, sprinkle in a lot of foundational elements. That fan base and that crowd in that stadium loves the Utes to death up there. It is a fun place to watch them play. I think Utah can win the Pac-12 very easily, get in the college football playoff, and get in a slugfest in a phone booth with somebody and do some damage.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You know, this is a fascinating exercise because college football has been in I don't want to say a rut, but there's been a lot of the same names over and over and over again for the last several years in college football. Alabama clearly is still here, not going anywhere. Ohio State still here, not going anywhere. But some of the other perennial names, Clemson, you mentioned, are they broken? Clemson fans are dying for them not to be, just begging for them to not be broken. Oklahoma loses Lincoln Riley and all of their quarterbacks. I don't know what, just
everybody,
all of them.
Everybody.
They're one of the names that you typically are used to seeing. I think there's going to be some new names. And you mentioned it with a school like Utah. I think there's an opportunity for there to be some new names that we're really discussing. And so it seemed like it would be easy to just choose three teams that would be a threat to Georgia, because you just go with the same three. But then when you start looking at it, you think, well, there's not. That you can't just go with those same three. So I've got one that I'm going to get to in the next segment, the last one that we'll talk about. I love this Utah one. That was the second one I was going to choose. So I love that Utah pick. I think they're tough, and I think they're physical, and I think they're well coached. And that is a hint for who I'm going to choose in the next segment. But
music to my ears.
Yeah, but first, we're going to tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline is your online sportsbook expert, and they are the only place that Clint and I trust to do all of our wagering. They are the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, the Locked On Podcast Network. And so that's where we recommend that you go to place all of your wagers, spreads, over-unders, props, parlays, whatever it is on the NBA, the NHL, golf, NCAA tournament, whatever you want to just be a degenerate and bet on the NIT. You go ahead and do that.
Jeez, that's new level.
Conference tournaments are about to kick off. Go ahead and bet on those. And it's Friday, Clint.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to give out a little Friday freebie here. Maybe we'll start this. We'll do the BetOnline read. You got to listen to it. I'm just going to give you a little freebie. Wouldn't it be hilarious if in Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium tomorrow, a North Carolina team that's probably not even currently in the tournament, came in there, their biggest rival, and ruined Coach K's last game? What if you just sprinkle just a little bit on that North Carolina money line tomorrow? That is, Duke beat them by 100 in Chapel Hill earlier this season. North Carolina's got no chance.
No, but
just a little bit on the money line, maybe. BetOnline.net's where you go to make that happen. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON, get a bonus on your initial deposit. That's the promo code LOCKEDON at BetOnline.net, your online sportsbook expert.
Y'all, Daniel is dying.
Freebie.
Daniel is dying for college betting. If he is
Why
going
can't
to coach,
Georgia be good? Why can't Georgia be good so we can talk about basketball on this podcast? It's a sin. It's a travesty. Tom Crean, you're the worst. You're the worst. If Tom Crean reached out to me today and asked to be on the podcast, I would say no. Just so we're totally clear. 100% not interested.
I want success for this podcast. Why would I bring Tom Crean on?
I don't want to set records for most losses in the history of the SEC.
Okay,
that's
all right.
That's
Daniel,
who we
Daniel, come on back. Come on back, Daniel. Get on back in the barn. Daniel, I gave Utah Utes. We gave Ohio State. You said you had another team. What is your team that you think well-coached, physical, plays sound football? What team is that?
I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears, Clint. I'm going to go with a school out of the Big 12. You remember those Baylor Bears from last year?
Do you know how much money I made off of Baylor last year betting? Because they were not favored in a lot of games. And I look at those games, I'm like, this is a well-coached, great physical team that gets after the quarterback. I made a ton of money off them. They are a great team, Daniel. I love this. I love this.
Yeah. So let me, if you didn't watch Baylor, let me explain the team to you. Okay. You might say to yourself, who's the quarterback of Baylor? And I would say to you, doesn't matter. Right now, it doesn't matter. There's a quarterback competition. There's a young kid that everybody's kind of hoping will win the job down at Baylor. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter who plays quarterback at Baylor. They lost their starting running back from last year. I'm here to tell you, he set the league on fire. Big 12 rushing leader last year for Baylor. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Do you know why, Clint? Because the best offensive line in college football was in Waco, Texas last year. And they are returning.
Okay. Yep.
All of them.
I'm sorry.
It's the whole unit is coming back. All 5 of the starters are coming back on the best offensive line. That offensive line carried that team. Yes. They're coached by Dave Aranda. And if you don't know what that means, it means the defense is good. The defense is sound, and they get after you. It's like saying you're coached by Mark Stoops, Clint, to speak to you and your sweet spot.
Yep.
When you're coached by Dave Aranda, it means that you get after it on the defensive side of the ball. When you are physical and relentless in the run game, they got a gifted but young and unproven quarterback coming in. If he can do just enough support, but he's behind the best offensive line in college football.
Yep.
And then you're going to play tough physical defense, and you're going to play in the Big 12, Clint. This is the key to the whole thing. It's the Big 12. Oklahoma State, you're going to bet on the mullet to get him back there?
No, thank you.
You're going to Oklahoma without Lincoln Riley, no quarterback? Texas?
Oh, please.
They're Texas.
Whatever. Yeah.
They're Texas. So, sorry.
They hate,
but I
they
won't
hate success. They are
I
riddled with disease for success.
Won't listen to it. Iowa State, the Cyclones? You good? Matt Campbell? Is that quarterback back for a 17th year? Brock Purdy back for running back?
He gone. Running back. He gone. Ohio State is Matt Campbell. Like, you would have asked me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have selected Matt Campbell as my coach of the future to make some noise. But no, you've had your shot. You've kind of run him
passed him by. Yep. Passed him by. Give me Baylor, Clint, to make the college football playoff this year and potentially be a threat to
Daniel.
Georgia.
If memory serves me right, they have 2. You said unproven young quarterback. They got 2 of those cats who are insanely electric. A lot of arm talent, totally unproven. But both of them excited when they saw
going to be a competition. Don't know who's going to win the starting quarterback job. And I know, here's what I know for a fact. Whoever is chosen to win the starting quarterback job, the Baylor fans are going to be in a riot. They're going to hate Dave Aranda because what an idiot. What an idiot he must be to have chosen this guy instead of this other guy. If only Dave Aranda knew as much about football as the Baylor fans did.
Hey, fans, we'll give you our Google Voice number. You just call us on up. We have a little expertise in this. We'll let you know. Shut your mouths.
It's in the it's in the description of the YouTube. Call us, leave us a voicemail. We would we'd love to hear from you.
I love this pick. Baylor is continually does more with less talent than a lot of schools, and the talent they do get in there, and they always pull a couple of kids. They're in Texas. A couple of kids want to stay home in Waco. Makes a noise. And you're going to see the Cincinnati breakthrough. I think, Daniel, was a big breakthrough in college football playoff. Now, Alabama ran rucksaw all over them, and I get it. I really do. It
was the closer of the two games. I'll remind the listener.
I was just going to say, the first two drives, Alabama passed the ball for -2 plays. I think they had a couple of drives just said, no, we're going to pretend like we passed it and it was incompletion. Let's just go to second down because they were running all over the place. But it was a close game. I think Cincinnati showed that they should have been on the stage. Okay? Right? College Football Playoff Committee is not going to – they can take a risk now on a Baylor, on a Utah. They're going to win the Pac-12.
I just think they're not going to have enough teams. They're just not – somebody's got to get in. And so, listen,
who's going to win? Who's going to win the ACC?
Who cares?
Okay,
who cares? I don't know.
Well, you and I are going to care come because we have a bet every single year.
Well, that's true. Duke plays North Carolina tomorrow, Coach K's last game. But I think Duke's pretty much got the ACC locked up, if that's what you're asking.
All right, thanks for that.
What if I gave you a plus 150? Okay. Baylor or Utah to make the college football playoff?
Ooh.
I think I'd take it. I like one of those teams. I think I like one of those teams to make the college football playoff.
Because what we're saying is you have two teams that are going to win their conference getting in the college football playoff, Daniel.
One of the two, you would think. Georgia and Alabama, Ohio State. Somebody else got to make it. Notre Dame doesn't have a quarterback. Who's going to make it? Clemson's broke. Who's going to make it? So I like these. It's interesting. It'll be an interesting year. All right. We got more to discuss. Next week, we'll be back on Monday. Check back with us. Conference tournaments in basketball are starting next week. And we got lots more football to discuss, talking about recruits, talking about all sorts of things here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Your team every day. We'll see you.
See ya.